Welcome, Bobcats, to our SNS presentation brought to you by the Bobcat Advising Center. In this presentation, we're going to go over a lot of really great information to get you started. We're going to talk about the Bobcat Advising Center, who we are. We're going to talk about the School of Natural Science major information, discuss general policies, registration tips, and reminders to connect with us during summer as you prepare for the fall to begin. So the Bobcat Advising Center is the advising home for all first-year students, freshman admins in every major, all over division undeclared transfers, all continuing undeclared students in any class. We promote student success through academic advising appointments, walk-in advising, workshops, and connecting students to appropriate resources. We're here to support you with your educational journey and help you with your personal, academic, and career goals. So again, we encourage you to connect with us as frequently as you need to provide you the support that you need. We're going to talk about some of the majors and information regarding to the School of Natural Sciences. For the School of Natural Sciences, we do have the main majors here listed in this slide. So we have Applied Mathematical Sciences, Biochemistry, Biological Sciences with the BA and the BS option as well, Chemistry, Data Science and Computing, Ecology, Evolution and Conservation Biology, Environmental System Science, and Physics. So one of the things that you will notice about this slide, in addition to the core majors, is that we also have emphasis that are part of many of these majors. So what emphasis are, or concentrations, it basically allows students to take more specialized courses towards specific career paths. So it is a really great way to get a little bit more in-depth information and knowledge on those specific areas of focus that you want to learn more about. The other thing that you'll see about this slide is that there is a specific new emphasis. So the new emphasis that you'll see there is the education emphasis. So most of the majors here listed have that opportunity for students to add the education emphasis. So if you're interested in teaching in K through 12, or you're interested in just exploring teaching as a whole, this is a really great opportunity to add that emphasis if you would like. So that's an opportunity that you have available with this new catalog. And if you have questions about those emphases, feel free to connect with us and connect with your BAC Academic Advisor to go further in discussion of these emphases. All right, so we're going to talk about changing majors. So if you are an incoming student, you can submit a major change. So if you need to submit a major change for one of those majors that we just listed, you can move forward and submit the major change form now. You can go into the admitted students page, and that will allow you to submit that form. If you're going to be submitting a second major change form during summer, we do encourage you to connect with the BAC Academic Advisor. That way we can help you and direct you to submit that second major change form. But again, if you need to submit that major change form, you can scan that QR code, and that's going to allow you to apply for that major change. We're going to discuss general policies that are really, really important as you prepare for graduation here at UC Merced. So the first one is the normal progress policy. So basically what this means is how we're progressing over the next 4 years in preparation for graduation. In general, one of the things that we do recommend students to plan for is to be able to reach the 120 units in 4 years. It is really helpful for students to take at least 14 to 16 units per semester. That allows that student to reach those 120 units in 4 years. For all SNS students, they are given 9 semesters to complete a degree, which is 4.5 years to be able to complete that degree. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more about your credits and units, you can scan the QR code there, which will direct you into a short video that talks a little bit more about this policy. Another policy that you also want to be aware of is the early progress policy, also known as EPP. Again, this is a very specific policy for the School of Natural Sciences. What this policy basically means is that a student must complete their first math course during their first year at UC Merced. So that means either completing the Math 5, Math 11, or Math 21 during that first year. The grade that is required to be able to complete that course is C- or higher. So that's the grade that is required for the math and for the major courses. The other thing to note is that if you do not pass your math course, you are allowed to take a one-time repeat to receive a passing grade. So again, one of the things that you want to plan with your academic advisor is ensuring that you have planned for that first math course. If your major requires additional classes, additional math courses, definitely planning those during that first year. But we must complete that first math during that first year. To learn a little bit more about this policy, you can scan the QR code in the slide to read a little bit more about this policy. So we're going to talk about the UC Merced placement exams. So all SNS majors should take the math, the chemistry, and the writing placement exams. Specifically, the math placement exam must be completed in order to register for any math courses. So if you don't take that placement exam, you won't be able to register for the math courses here at UC Merced. So it's really important to try to get that math placement exam completed. Also, the chem placement exam must be taken along with the math placement exam to determine the chem course placement. So we do need both the chemistry placement exam and the math placement exam scores to evaluate what would be the appropriate chem course that you would be taking based on those two placement exams. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more about placement exams, you can scan the QR code there on this slide. But again, we encourage you to take those placement exams as soon as possible. Another really great resource that we want to dive a little bit deeper here at UC Merced is a pre-health advising. So students have the opportunity to connect with pre-health advising. You can start, this summer if you would like to learn a little bit more about the resources. So I encourage you to scan the QR code listed in the slide, bookmark this specific resource. You will be able to use this resource throughout your journey here at UC Merced. And it's going to be a really helpful tool to, again, learn about different career pathways in pre-health. If you're interested in going into a pre-health pathway or you're exploring that option, this resource can be a really great guide. They also provide an opportunity for you to complete a listserv. So if you complete that listserv on the website, you will be getting email notifications related to pre-health information, resources, or even events that will be happening throughout the academic year. And it's a really great way to just stay in touch with opportunities for pre-health advising. The other thing that's going to be really helpful is that you will be able to meet with the pre-health advisor. So if you have questions related to, some of the pre-health career paths, you can connect with the pre-health advisor. And you can also email them depending on the questions that you have. So they also have that availability. All right, so we're going to talk about common course information. This is to get you more acquainted with registration and how to support you with registration. Specifically, we'll start talking about bio, chem, and physics courses. So one of the things that it's really important to discuss is that for a lot of these courses, there is a specific lab that has to be added when you register for the classes. So for instance, for Bio 11, that specific course requires you to register for the lecture, discussion, and lab. So when you're registering for courses like this, always double check to see if a lab is required for some of these courses. Physics requires you to enroll in a math first. So if you don't have a math course completed, it might give you an error message. So it's always really important to make sure that you are meeting the prerequisite to add a physics class. The other thing that you want to note is that for writing courses, so Writing 1 is a preparatory course. Writing 10 is the UC Merced college level writing course. So it's going to be really important for you to complete both of these classes at UC Merced. So both of those classes are lower division writing requirements. For math courses, again, it's really important to take the math placement to be able to register for a math course. Specifically, Math 8 is only for non-STEM majors. So keep that in mind when you're reviewing course options. Math 21 is for physical science and engineering majors. And then Math 11 is for bio and non-STEM majors. The other thing that is also important to note is that some majors provide the option to choose Math 11 or Math 21. So you have that specific track or track options to choose from. The other thing that's really helpful is that when you are reviewing course options, just to kind of give you a little bit more of a breakdown of how the courses are labeled, if you're looking for courses that are lower division courses, those will be labeled from 0 to 99. If you're looking for courses that are upper division, those courses will be labeled 100 to 199. Again, so these are just some, tips as you register for courses. I will pass it on to my colleague that will continue with the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you for that great half presentation. So I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about Smart Start. So some of you who were able to register for the new orientation by the deadline will be eligible for what we call Smart Start registration. And so Smart Start essentially allows the registrar office to place you into your coursework for your major. The goal is to have you into 12 to 18 units, but it is always important to double check to make sure that your total unit is 12 or 12 to 18 units in total. And so if it is not, it is still your responsibility to register for additional courses like GEs or elective to make sure you reach that full-time status. And so know that our BAC advising team will be available throughout the whole summer to really support you as you navigate this experience. And know that your courses that you are registered into are not set in stone. So what that means is that if you feel that you want to change the course that was given to you, you can do that during your registration date and time. And again, our BAC Academic Advisor are here to support you in that process as needed. Now, for those of you who may have missed the deadline to register for new student orientation, don't worry, you still have a time to register for class. All students in general are given a specific assigned registration date and time where you can check in your student record. And so that is something that we recommend you to check in advance. That way you can register on your assigned date and time to ensure that you're getting the best course option or having the best chance to get the class you need. And so we do have a quick video that talks about different ways to best prepare yourself in our BAC Things to Know mini series. And so definitely check that out. You should be able to find that in some of the previous QR codes that we have available. And just like what I mentioned, our BAC advisor are going to be available throughout the whole summer to support you in this process. And so if you feel like you need support, make sure you come to our virtual check-ins and we can support you through Zoom. Alrighty, so the next piece I wanted to make sure everyone understand is the difference between major requirement, general education, and electives. So first things first is that major requirements are specific courses that are within the subject of your major, right? So if you are a electrical engineering major, your major requirements are electrical engineering courses. So those are your major requirement. General education, on the other hand, it's more of a broader spectrum of courses where you can be history course, it can be a bio course, it could be a writing course. Those are typically general education. However, each general education requirement has a specific set of classes you need to take from. And so you want to always double check which general education requirement can be required by which course you need. And all of that can be definitely looked into by using your My Degree path. Although general education is not part of your major requirement, it is still very important that you complete your general education, as your general education is going to contribute to your graduation requirement as well. And so general education is a great way to build you as an overall student. The next point here is the electives. Electives are essentially courses that typically don't count towards a GE or a major requirement. This could be taking additional math courses that might not be needed for your major, taking additional history course that doesn't fulfill general education. All of these classes are elective, but they all still count towards your graduation in total. I do want to talk about a quick difference about major elective and free electives. So major electives are major courses that are relevant to your major, but they're not part of the core curriculum. While free elective refers to any courses that doesn't fulfill a major or a general education component. And so keep that in mind. There is a slight difference when you're looking at your 4-year plan. So I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about how we can use that electives to be more meaningful. So the first option we have here is to declare a minor. Again, minors are only optional, and they may require from 20 to about 30 units in addition to your major and general education requirement. You are more than welcome to take any minor from any school. You are not limited to just the School of Natural Science. However, there are different ways you want to think about this. So one, do you want to take a minor that it's an interest of yours? Or do you want to take a minor that maybe complements your current major? So for example here, let's say you're interested in the economy minor. You can still do that even though it's not relevant to your major. But if you want to do something that's more relevant to your major, you can consider something along the line of the natural science education minor, where it specifically helps students go into more of that teaching field. And so that's, again, a good way for you to kind of play around with how you can use those elective. Just make sure that if you do want to go declare a minor, you must declare it before that 90 unit mark. And you must have an official declared major. The second option we have here is to declare a double major. Now, the double major is a little bit tricky. And the reason is because you cannot officially declare a double major until your second year. So in your first year, we can talk about what courses you should be taking. We can talk about general ideas, but you won't be able to declare that until that second year. And you must declare before you hit that unit mark. So really quickly, double major is a little bit different from minoring because not all majors are allowed to double major, and specifically in certain major. And so you want to be very careful about how you choose your combination of majors to do a double major in. So when you do a double major, it also means that you will most likely do an additional 60 units or more because most major are a little bit higher in unit counts. So just be very careful how you do a double major, and not all double major are approved. It does require some more faculty approval, more review. But again, if you're interested in that, speak with your academic advisor, and we are more than happy to explore that with you. All right, so we're going to dive a little bit into registration tips. So these are some tips that we want to share with you all just to kind of get you in the mindset of what to keep in mind when you're making your course selection. So the first thing is that we always want you to prioritize majority of your major course. Specifically, we want you to register for a math and a science course because that's going to be very critical to you as a natural science student. Specifically, we want to focus on math because math is very critical to a lot of your future science courses. So for example, chemistry, physics, all of those really built upon that math. And so if you were to fall behind in one of those courses, we will need to think about some alternative plans to maybe get you back on track. For example, summer classes or maybe additional coursework. And so planning in advance is going to be very helpful in this course planning process. Overall, we do recommend that students have a balance of major courses and general education. We don't want you to become overwhelmed with just major class. And so every semester or so, you may find yourself doing 2 to 3 major course and 1 or 2 general education. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to show you some of our recommendation courses for certain major. We won't be going through all of the different major just for the sake of this video. However, at the end of the video, we will be posting the slides of all of the different recommendation for all the different majors. And so it is important to understand that what we recommend in this video is not a replacement to meeting with your BAC Academic Advisor. This is just to kind of give you a general idea of where to start. We do still recommend you to meet with us, and so we can talk more in detail because every student comes with a little bit different academic background. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and look at the biology the biological science major. Alrighty, so this little recommendation tip here does apply to both the BA pathway and the BS pathway. And so, depending on your placement exam, we do recommend you to start off with Math 11, the Chem 2, and the Chem Lab, Bio, and then Bio 11 Lab. And then as a general education to kind of build a balance, we encourage students to go more towards the Spark classes. Again, this is based off of your placement score. Now, if we look onto the right-hand side, these are some of your alternative options. So like I mentioned, if you didn't place into Math 11, your first semester, you should aim for Math 5. Same thing with chemistry. If you did not place into Chem 2, we recommend you to start off with Chem 1 instead of the Chem 2. And so we can see here that other alternative, let's say for some reason you couldn't get a Spark, you can consider writing if you haven't done the writing placement exam. You can opt in to do your computer science requirement, or maybe even fill in it with just a general education like social science. And so again, this is just a recommendation. This is something that you can start off from, and know that all of this information is being pulled from the UC Merced's catalog. And so for some reason, if you can't find this video or you need a reference sheet, you can always pull up the UC Merced catalog for that information. Okay, let's go ahead and head back to the slide. Again, we'll go ahead and show all of the different majors at the end of the video. So if you want to find out more about your major specifically, go ahead and skip to towards the end of this video. All right, so these are just some important reminders that we want to make sure that you are aware of. So the first things first is that make sure you check our BAC Things to Know mini-series. In that little video mini-series, it covers a lot of different helpful tips, and such as understanding transfer credit, understanding AP scores, understanding placement exam, and so much more. So we recommend you to give that quick run through. Each video is just about no more than 5 minutes, if anything. Secondly, we highly recommend that you consistently check your email daily, and specifically your UC Merced email, because that is the way how the university will connect with you and contact you. And so the more you check it, the more updated you are with what's going on. Third, we recommend that you register for your classes during your assigned registration time to increase your chances of getting the course you want. Lastly, our BAC Academic Advisor are available over the summer to provide you with support. And so if you need any support in talking about classes or just needing to understand where to start, join us for our Zoom walk-ins and we'll be able to support you through Zoom. Last but not least, we want to share a little bit more about our contact information for you all so you can reach out when needed. And so you can see our main phone number, you can see our location, and of course our hours of operation. We are typically from 8 to 5 p.m. through Monday through Friday. You can also find all of our information on our website with that QR code on the bottom. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're kind of doing, we do our best to try to update any events, anything that's going on campus through our Instagram. And then we also try to upload these helpful videos onto our YouTube as well. So make sure you check us out. That way you get more helpful information like this. And with that, thank you all for joining us for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be here to help and support you as much as we can.
Woke up late feeling lost again. Got a textbook open but I can't pretend. My friends are out there living life so free while I'm stuck here just trying to find me. Then I remember the door's always wide.